Remember back in the day, what was it, 2017, where that big study dropped, where a researcher basically went through a lot of like right wing and right wing adjacent YouTubers and found that you can like easily go from someone like Ben Shapiro or Joe Rogan to David Duke and a bunch of like literal neo-Nazis. Remember that? That was a fun time, wasn't it? The alt-right pipeline was chugging along. People like Fuentes and who was it? Stefan Molyneux were still on. David Duke and Richard Spencer still had YouTube accounts for God knows why, but they did. Until YouTube decided to shut a lot of that down. I missed it. Good that you missed it. I was on the Onision pipeline. Yeah, I was gonna say that's better, but I'm not necessarily sure. It may be a horizontal move. It may be more of a horizontal move than anything else, but you know what? Whatever. That's fine. Actually, we were streaming during that time. I did it on stream. I started off on a Ben Shapiro video and we made it to a David Duke video. If you didn't know, he's a racist person. He was a part of the KKK. Bad person. Bad guy. He is. To be fair, you can still do that. It requires a lot more effort. When algorithms give you things that you watch, it will always push you in that sort of direction. If you watch like a lot of commentary style videos, like, I don't know, what's one? The big problem comes in with really, really bad politics. So you go from Trump to, and that opens you up to already a lot of curious figures is how I'll put it. And you can easily get funneled into something else. YouTube cracked down on a lot of that. YouTube broke up the alt-right pipeline, and a lot of the people there have lost a lot of prominence. People like No Bullshit are gone. Obviously Fuentes and Molyneux are gone. Lauren Southern has to pretend that she's not a Nazi anymore. You know, stuff like that has thankfully been broken up. But this isn't the same on other platforms. And remember, there are other platforms out there, and they are huge. One of those being TikTok. There was this researcher who decided to see what was going to be going on TikTok. How easy is it for you to get radicalized? How easy is it for you to find some crazy content on TikTok? And she found out that it's really not that hard at all. Let's listen to some of this.
I got radicalized into the far right on TikTok. Well, technically I didn't, but an account that I made did, and this is a graph of what that looked like. I just co-published the study, and I'll link it in the comments, but I'll also break it down right now here. So we wanted to examine whether or not transphobia is a gateway prejudice that leads to like broader far right radicalization. It's been pretty clear for a while now that the far right is transphobic, but we wanted to see whether being transphobic alone was enough to lead you to the far right. So I made a brand new TikTok account and followed 14 creators known to post transphobic content. Then I started scrolling my For You page where I exclusively engaged with transphobic content, and I documented the major narratives of the more than 400 videos recommended to me. We also double-blind coded this, meaning that another researcher also watched every video and coded the narratives, and then if we ever disagreed, 2 more researchers would come in and perform a tiebreaker. Once we removed sponsored videos and videos that had been taken down before they could be double-coded, we were left with 360 videos. Of the 360 total videos, 103 were homophobic or anti-trans, 42 were misogynistic, 29 contained racist narratives or white supremacist messaging, and 14 endorsed violence.
Ooh, 14 just straight up calls to violence. Ooh, that's a spicy meatball. Hey, listen, misogyny's on the downtick. Would you look at that? Women on the come up. Only 42 were misogynistic. That's nice, at least, right? 103 contained anti-trans or homophobic narratives. All right, that's some spicy hate, some real spicy hate.
Obviously, TikTok didn't just give us neo-Nazi content immediately. I actually didn't get my first Nazi symbol until video 141. But the more I interacted with transphobic content, the more I was fed not only more transphobic content, but also homophobia and misogyny and racism and anti-Semitism. So I didn't actually have to interact with racist content to be fed white supremacist content. I just had to engage with transphobic content. What you see in this graph is the TikTok algorithm starting off with a normal feed, memes, recipe videos, whatever, and then going, oh, you're transphobic. Have you tried hating the gays? What about...
Excuse me, sir. I have noticed that you hate trans people. Would you like you dipped your toes into a bit of misogyny? Here you go, good sir. Let me know how it tastes. And then they ramped it up. That's how the MGTOW Red Pill TikTok gang started. Yeah, shorts do a lot of this, right? Here's a wild thing when it comes to shorts and like short videos like this that are under like 30, they're under like a minute or between like a minute and 2 minutes long. They're quite short videos, so you can binge a lot of them. Now, it seems like a lot of you guys are YouTube frogs and a lot of you guys are, stream frogs. We've been live for 4 hours now. So I've contained many a TikTok stream, a TikTok, video within the stream, but getting through 400 videos is not crazy. Getting through 400 videos is not a lot. And she'll actually explain that.
Pride hating the gays. What about women? So it appears that transphobia alone can radicalize a TikTok user. Around video 400, you'll notice an interesting spike in far-right figures, hate symbols, anti-Semitism, and calls to violence. That's when I reached fascist TikTok and set my phone on fire. 400 videos might sound like a lot, but if a user watches each video for an average of 20 seconds, they would end up watching 400 videos in just over 2 hours. So a user could feasibly download the app at breakfast and be fed overtly white supremacist neo-Nazi content before lunch.
And that's the danger of TikTok. That's the real danger of TikTok and a lot of these shorts. It's how quickly they move. Once again, 20 seconds for each video, and that's just an average. So you're skipping through some, you're completely watching some others, you're half watching a bunch of them. TikTok Nazi speedrun. I want to see that on GDQ. The next GDQ that comes around, I want to see someone plug in their phone and be like, all right, guys, I started up a new account. We're going to see my best time has been 1 hour and 30 minutes. Let's see how fast we can get to a Nazi. All right, let's go, boys. I've really gotten good at forcing the algorithm's hand. And as you see, the further you go, as it ticks up, we can take a look at this graph that she has. You can take a look at this graph. So this at the top one is transphobia. Almost all of them contains a bunch of transphobia, homophobia, misogyny, racism. Hey, look, racism is on the downtick. Would you look at that? Prominent far right figures. And the thing is, we're going to have to look into the methodology from Media Matters for us to actually know what like these terms mean, what they counted as transphobia, what they counted as homophobia, what they counted as misogyny. What is that necessarily, right? Does ironic misogyny play into there? But honestly, even if it does, even if I grant that that's what they did and that's where you got there, the uptick that you get in this is not all irony. This is not all memes. You're not just memeing. Maybe like somewhere in here, this could be some memeing, but all the way up here, 60 videos about these are not memes anymore. A lot of these people are genuine in their opinions, very genuine. And the thing is, it's pretty easy to find things like transphobic content because that was the gateway, right? It's very easy to find transphobic content. I mean, you see like a random transphobic TikTok all the time these days, right? Where it's like some dipshit bumfuck conservative child like, what's up, guys? I identify as a briefcase. Pick me up, Poppy. I'm a briefcase. And then they play another character and they're like, you're not a briefcase, bro. You're a person. And then they go, you're invalidating me. I'm a briefcase. Pick me up. Stuff me. And that's the entire video. And in 2 hours time, which is a very short amount of time for someone who spends time on TikTok, okay? If you know someone who spends time on TikTok and they spend more than 2 hours and they can blow through hundreds of videos. And if the algorithm's moving that quick, once again, 2 hours. On YouTube today, it would take you days, maybe even weeks sometimes at this point to reach content like that. On TikTok, it's mere hours. And at some point in time, mere minutes. Your For You page is evolving so freaking fast. It's like you're playing Spore, but with Nazism. It's not good. It's bad, actually, now that I think about it. And TikTok isn't doing much about it. Because a lot of these platforms, this type of content is the content that gets the most amount of interactions, whether that people disagreeing or agreeing with it. This is it. A lot of this content here. And not even all of them have to get that much interaction, but if there's a lot of them out there just hiding in the little underbelly, you're going to have a little thing on your hand. You're going to have a little community over there. Fast talk. I don't like the idea that there's fast talk. I don't like the idea that someone can make like one misclick on some video, watch it, and be like, I kind of agree. Like some like normie can be like, gay people are kind of weird, but whatever. And then the more they go on, the worse the content gets, and it just throws them into a massive hole, and of which like a lot of people will never escape. That's awful. And once again, mere hours on TikTok, mere hours to get there. It's not unique. Actually, Facebook is another platform that we think about. You remember, what was it? The disinformation dozen? The top 12 people on Facebook produced 80% of the COVID misinformation. One of them being John F. Kennedy's like grandson, I think, which is a curious meme. I have to tell you, Facebook is huge when it comes to misinformation. People, like, it's just a meme these days that people's grandmas and grandpas get like giga radicalized by just spending some time on Facebook these days. I try not to think about Facebook. Your life does become a little better when you realize, when you try and pretend Facebook doesn't exist, but you always get reminded of it. RFK, somewhere along someone, there are a lot of Kennedys and they're all almost named the exact same, so I don't really care. And also most of them are dead, so that also doesn't matter too much, but it was one of the Kennedys. Listen to this. In September 2019, a Facebook user named Carol Smith signed up for the platform, describing herself as a politically conservative mother from Wilmington, North Carolina. Smith's account indicated an interest in politics, parenting, and Christianity, and followed a few of her favorite brands, including Fox News and then President Donald Trump. Though Smith had never expressed an interest in conspiracy theories, in just 2 days, Facebook was recommending she join groups dedicated to QAnon. 2 days. Smith didn't follow the recommended QAnon groups, but whatever the algorithm Facebook was using to determine how she should engage with the platform pushed just the same. Within a week, Smith's feed was full of groups and pages that had violated Facebook's own rules, including those against hate speech and disinformation. The thing is that Smith was not a real person. A researcher employed by Facebook invented the account, along with those of other fictitious test users in 2019 and 2020, as part of an experiment in studying the platform's role in misinformation, polarizing users through its recommendation system. So this is Facebook. This is Facebook's internals, Facebook themselves, who are sitting here and talking about, hey man, I think we need to look into how fast we can get radicalized, because it seems like we have a lot of radicalization on our platform. It seemed to be like a bit of a problem. And in a week's time, they already were in like a trove of things that broke Facebook's own terms of service that were just left to sit there and fester and rot. I find myself going to Battles at YouTube comment replies, honestly a worse place than Twitter sometimes. I tell you, cringe. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Facebook has clearly taken large strides to improve things since being chewed up by the Senate. Oh yeah, no, they've done so much. Yeah, bud. So much, man. They've gone, it's so much better now. And the thing is, we didn't know about this. These are files that got disclosed from people who used to work at Facebook, other internal documents that got leaked. This is how this happened. Versions of the disclosures, which were redacted names of researchers, included the author of Carol's Journey to QAnon, were shared digitally and reviewed consortium of news organizations, including NBC. Well, this study of one hypothetical user is a perfect example of research the company does to improve our systems and helped inform the decision to remove QAnon from the platform. A Facebook spokesman said, they were like, actually, you say it's bad, but actually this is us, checking the services. We're like doing a good job. We cleaned it up. They didn't really. It's really not that cleaned up. Not as much as they would like for you to believe, at the very least. These documents effectively confirm what outside researchers were saying prior, which was often dismissed by Facebook. Technical research manager and the Stanford Internet Observatory, one of the earliest harbingers, and the risk of Facebook's recommendation algorithms. So Facebook lies constantly. about what they know. And this is why this is such a big story, because for so long they've lied about knowing how bad things are, and how bad their platform gets. And they just pretended things, we're working on it. It's not that bad as a lot of people say it is. It is bad. It's very bad, actually. The company researchers had been running experiments like Carol Smith's to gauge the platform's hand in radicalizing users, according to documents seen by NBC. This internal work repeatedly found that recommendation tools pushed users into extreme groups, findings that helped inform policy changes and tweaks to recommendations and news feed rankings. Those rankings were a tentacled, ever-evolving system widely known as the algorithm. Oh no, that pushes content to users. But the research at the time stopped well short of inspiring any movement to change the groups and pages themselves. So they still failed to remove a lot of these even their own rule-breaking services. Once again, they make a lot of money. QAnon runs rampant on Facebook and it makes a lot of money. Anti-vax shit runs rampant on Facebook and it makes a lot of money. And the fact that you can make private groups so people from the outside can't see what's going on, and so people don't report necessarily what's been going on in there, since obviously if you're from the outside and you're just like scrolling past it and you would imagine that you would want to report it, you don't report it. And the people who are on the inside already aren't reporting that shit either. They already agree with it, or they got roped into it, or they're on the edge of believing it and they probably won't report it either. So do libs become leftists, or is this only for the right wingers? There are just way less left wingers on Facebook. There's just way less, right? You can easily hop from Ben Shapiro to Jordan Peterson to Rogan to QAnon that quick. And then anti-vax shit just roped in there that quick, almost instantly. The right is way closer to their radicals, and they're way more radical and active in larger Facebook groups on Facebook than there are left wingers. But yeah, it does happen. Absolutely, it does happen. You can become a lefty. You can be a big dick lefty. It's just way less likely to happen. There are less of us around, and we're smaller. By summer 2020, Facebook was hosting thousands of private QAnon groups and pages with millions of members and followers, according to unreleased internal investigations. So they knew about this. Summer of 2020, mind you, there were millions of people were flourishing in these QAnon groups, and they were just kind of letting it happen. And mind you, these people don't just stay on Facebook. They go out into the real world. The biggest example of them going out into the real world was the January 6th riot at the Capitol, where a lot of Facebook groups came together and made good on their promises to try and overthrow the election and overthrow the fucking country for Donald Trump. And they tried. They failed, but they tried. And a lot of that planning, a lot of that radicalization that happened from within a year's time, from people who are normal to people who want to like bring guns in and fucking gun down Nancy Pelosi, that happened very quickly. And people are completely lost. People have lost like friends and family members so fast to this. You don't even know what's happening. And this is something that Facebook has let continue for a very long time. There's still a lot of private Facebook groups around that are posting a lot of very scary shit. Scary how far it has come. Yeah, it's not just a meme out in the wilderness. It's real. This meme is very real. Marjorie Taylor Greene was right. With the rise of a lot of this stuff happening, there are going to be more people who are going to be radicalized. And if Facebook doesn't step in to do anything, it's only going to get worse. And that's why I really think government should really step in and force them to do better. Because if not, there are going to be so many people who are lost to disinformation and pulled into conspiracy theories for someone's benefit, but it's definitely not theirs. It ruins their friendships, it ruins their family relationships, it ruins the country, because it also destroys their ability to do any real critical thinking for the things that they read and the things that they believe, which is so fundamental to even like to any civilization, let alone a representative democracy that many of our sister nations are. So this is what we got. This is what we have right now. And a lot of people were speaking out against Facebook. There are whistleblowers in there saying that Facebook just isn't really doing anything. Facebook isn't tackling a lot of these issues. It's so easy to go from the normal righty to complete giga Nazi, conservative shit, which is wild. And it tells you a lot about the conservatives in this country and around the world, how it's so easy to move from them to leapfrog over to someone who's actually insane. Communities including QAnon, COVID, denialists, and misogyny and misogynist incel movements that weren't obviously hate or terrorism groups that in their nature posed a risk to safety of individuals and societies. The focus wasn't to eradicate them, but to curb their growth of these newly branded harmful topic communities with the same algorithmic tools that had allowed them to grow in the first place. So their goal wasn't to get rid of these communities. It was just to stop them from getting any bigger, which is a big problem because a lot of them are already huge. And this is where we sit right now when it comes to Facebook and a lot of the radicalization. It's moved on from YouTube, and with other big players coming in, when people want to radicalize you, radicalize someone that you know, it can be very easy. I would say 100% stay in touch with a lot of people that you know, especially boomers and Gen X who aren't that tech savvy, and even some millennials as well. Keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on your friends and family. All right. Because if not, you can lose them 100%. I mean, maybe one day we'll go through like QAnon casualties. It's basically stories of people saying how much, talking about how they lost friends and family members to QAnon, and they like basically defoo, they leave their family and friends for like believing in, this like crazy conspiracy theory. And it's just really unfortunate. They'll like abandon their children at some points in time. There are people who rioted at the Capitol on January 6th who threatened their own children. If they said that, if those children, went to the police about their dad, like going to the Capitol and trying to kill a cop, right? That one dude killed his lizard children. Yeah. And that lady who brought the "Don't Tread on Me" flag, but then died because she got trampled to death by Trump supporters. That shit was wacky. Curious about your opinion. How can we curb this behavior effectively? One really big thing to do would be like proper media literacy and teaching media literacy the same way we teach English in schools would be huge. It would be massive. That would completely destroy a lot of like alt-right pipelines, because if people know what they're watching, if they can pick up on bias, that'd be a huge thing to be able to get people to understand. There are some people who genuinely just don't understand how to differentiate from manipulated media, extremely biased media, and just straight up lies. They can't do it. That's where the whole like, yeah, I sent you a Breitbart article, but everything in there is true. It's not true. And even if it is true, it's a lie. It can be a lie because the way that is presented, it can easily be a lie by omission. They could tell you everything that's true, just leave out a lot of really important information that could change how you would report it, because they're very ideologically driven reporters. So yeah, I don't read shit from like the Daily Caller or Breitbart. Absolutely not. They're insane. So media literacy just on the ground would be massive. After that, like having governments crack down and have like a division where they have to put through like a certain amount of resources and put it towards like de-radicalization. Maybe not, my bad, not de-radicalization, making sure that there isn't a crazy amount of radicalization on their platform. I kind of like maybe it can be like roped into like the FCC or something along those lines that can be controlled. That can control a lot of these like tech industry giants and have them. I'd love to see something where they do these like sort of radicalization pipeline internal studies, and then they're forced to report it to the government, and then the government can and if they don't, they can get like really fined. And when I say fined, I don't mean like they have to pay $1 million. When I say fined, I mean like $500,000 or more. Like it starts at $500,000 and it goes up from there. And you know what? Here, it starts at $500,000 and it doubles each time. Each infraction doubles the payment, doubles the fine. I love that.